The year is approximately 850 of the Common Era. Palembang breathes salt and ambition. A city built on water, sustained by water, feared because of water. In a cramped cabin aboard the royal merchant vessel Naga Emas, a woman moves with the economy of someone who has learned to take up precisely the space she is given, and no more. Arunika sorts her medicine chest by scent and memory. Dried turmeric from her father's language, betel leaf from her mother's silence, powdered ginger and kampung honey packed against monsoon and misfortune. She is physician to men who call her gifted in one breath and foreign in the next. Half Tamil, half Malay, wholly neither. The great gilded serpent of the ship's prow stretches toward the Strait of Malacca, toward profit, toward empire, and toward something not yet named, already moving through the blood of the crew. The Naga Emas, the golden serpent, slips from the quay at Palembang on the morning tide, her hull heavy with tribute gold, sacred palm leaf manuscripts wrapped in oiled silk, and the ambitions of an empire. Incense smoke from the departure prayers still clings to the rigging. Arunika stands at the stern, watching the great river swallow the city behind a curtain of mangrove and mist. She carries no rank, no seal of office, only a battered wooden chest of roots, resins, and dried leaves, and a reputation that makes powerful men uneasy. Captain Wirabhumi has already turned his back to her. In the hierarchy of this vessel, her healing hands are a necessity, not an honor. What neither she nor Wirabhumi yet understands is that somewhere in the belly of this gilded ship, death has already set sail with them. 3 days out from Palembang, the strait offers no mercy and no silence. Below the Naga Emas's teak-ribbed belly, where bilge water laps against sacred cargo and the air hangs thick with salt and rancid palm oil, a young oarsman named Tamar folds like a broken mast. His limbs seize. Black saliva threads down his chin like ink from a poisoned brush. His pulse, when Arunika presses 2 fingers to his throat, beats slow and wrong, deliberate almost, in its reluctance. She knows this stillness. She has knelt beside it before, in a Palembang counting house, over a merchant whose eyes held the same terrible bewilderment. This is not the sea's doing. Something cold and precise moves through her chest as she opens her medicine chest and begins, very carefully, to remember. She works by lamplight, grinding dried specimens between river-smoothed stones, the bitter green smell cutting through salt air and fever sweat. Arunika has seen this residue before, in the shallows near Palembang's southern tributaries, where fishermen's children are warned away from certain dark-stemmed reeds. No tide carries this plant to open water. No storm delivers it. Someone had to gather it, prepare it, and carry it aboard with careful, unhurried intention. She says nothing. Instead, she watches the cook's hands, the quartermaster's eyes, the way certain men refill their cups while others do not. Then Tamar stirs. His cracked lips barely move, but his meaning is unmistakable. 2 nights before sailing, in the hold's deep shadow, a figure crouched beside the water casks, alone. The circle of suspicion has a shape now, and aboard the Naga Emas, that shape belongs to someone still breathing. The squall arrives without mercy. Black clouds swallow the horizon, and the Naga Emas groans beneath waves that strike like war drums. Ropes flog the air. Rain hammers the teak decking in sheets cold as river stone. And then, a second man collapses near the forward mast, clutching his belly, his lips darkening to the same bruised violet Arunika has seen before. She fights the wind to reach Captain Weerabhumi, her wet hair plastered across her face, her voice raw against the screaming gale. He turns from her. His gesture is brief, dismissive, ancient in its contempt. The flick of a wrist that erases a woman's certainty. She stands alone on the heaving deck, the rain indifferent, the sea indifferent, the truth burning inside her like a coal no storm can extinguish. Somewhere below, the poisoner is still among them. The tea is brewed from dried chrysanthemum and galangal root. A nobleman's courtesy, or perhaps a physician's test in reverse. Lord Dhanasena pours with practiced grace, his silk robe catching the amber light that filters through carved teak shutters. Arunika accepts the cup. She must. The carved sandalwood table between them holds sweetmeats, dried tamarind, a small bronze oil lamp, all the props of civilized hospitality. Yet her fingers read the cup's warmth the way they read a patient's pulse, measuring, translating. His questions arrive like tidal water, unhurried and inevitable. Her training, her certainties, her allegiances. She answers each one a fraction short of complete truth. Across his placid, polished smile, she recognizes the architecture of a man taking inventory. He is counting what she knows. Now she must decide what he will do once the counting is finished. In the belly of the Naga Emas, where the smell of camphor and putrefying wound cloth thickens the salt air, Tamar speaks with the last coherence of a man already half surrendered to the dark. His lips are cracked, his breath shallow as a tide pool at noon. But his eyes, those hold everything. Arunika presses a poultice of turmeric and betel leaf to his chest and listens. He saw Dhanasena's man at the river landing in Palembang. A folded packet, small as a prayer, passed at the water's edge before dawn. He was offered silver and refused it. The refusal cost him his life. When the final breath leaves him just before the false dawn pales the eastern horizon, Arunika sits with his silence and understands. Truth, unwitnessed, is nothing, and she must now find a way to make the water itself confess. Deep in the ship's belly, where bilge water laps against sealed clay jars, and the air hangs thick with salt and camphor, Arunika moves by touch alone. Tamar's whispered directions guide her trembling fingers past sacks of dried tamarind and coils of coir rope until they find it. A small packet, bound in waxed banana leaf, still sealed, still deadly. She holds her breath. The poison that has already hollowed 3 men from the inside sits quiet in her palm, patient as a sleeping serpent. With the careful deliberation of one who understands both cure and catastrophe, she wraps it in undyed cotton and tucks it beneath the layers of her medicine chest, hidden among valerian root and dried turmeric. She now possesses the only truth that matters. The question is whether she can survive long enough to speak it. The Strait of Malacca stretches silver and merciless beneath a white morning sky. On the rain-bleached deck of the Naga Emas, Arunika stands at the center of everything. Small, unarmored, holding a wrapped cloth that contains a kingdom's undoing. She opens it with the unhurried precision of a healer, not a soldier. The dried leaves of the poison plant catch the equatorial light, unremarkable to an untrained eye, damning to hers. She speaks without trembling, her Tamil and Malay woven together into something unignorable. Tamar's final words, the plant's coastal origins, the progressive silence it carves through a body. Dhanasena's command cuts the salt air like a blade. The crew does not move. 30 men who watched a sailor die by inches stand utterly still, and Captain Wirabhumi's hand rests, trembling, on nothing at all. Kedah's harbor receives its tribute at last. On the worn teak planking of the quayside, Captain Wirabhumi delivers Dhanasena to the harbor authorities. Wordless, head lowered, the posture of a man settling a debt he cannot fully repay. Arunika's evidence, pressed into dried leaf and careful script, passes from hand to hand until the conspiracy dissolves like salt in warm water. The Naga Emas rides higher now, unburdened. At the stern, away from ceremony and coin, Arunika opens her palm above the green-black water. A single lotus blossom, bruised white, already wilting, catches the current and moves away. She watches it until it disappears. Her face holds nothing that requires translation. The sea accepts the flower without ceremony, as it accepts everything: commerce, conspiracy, tribute, grief. It does not distinguish between them. It never has.